that you're writing with right now on paper? It's not the same element, right? So if we lose a proton, we've changed the element completely. It's not made of the same thing, right? All right, so we never lose or gain protons because you change that element completely. You can lose electrons, you can gain electrons, you don't change the element. But if you lose or gain a proton, you've completely altered that element, okay? So we never lose or gain protons. Carbon that you're writing with has 6 protons. The air that's in this room that we're all breathing is nitrogen and oxygen that are combined. Now, do we actually breathe in the nitrogen? No, our lungs take in what? Let's breathe in the oxygen. All right, questions? All right, find your notes. We got to finish the notes that are on the board, and then we're going to try the static electricity lab. Parts of it will work really well. Parts of it are going to suck. That's just not going to work today. What?
I watched the failed episode, and surprisingly, it was the episode that has the static electricity.
Oh, cool.
It was kind of funny.
Okay. Yeah, parts of it will not work today. The glass rod and the silk will be a complete dud. The balloons are a crapshoot. The rabbit fur will work. The tissue paper will probably work. The water is a crapshoot. Okay, we'll just have to see. If it had been the first period that y'all were in here, it would have worked much better because the heat was off. But as the day has marched on, for some odd reason, it's gotten cold. I even had my coat off this morning.
Logan, free.
I don't know what it'll feel like tomorrow. It's supposed to be in the 70s. It'll probably really be cold in here. I really think it's going to be warm. Do I have any seniors in here? Sacramento, you dressing up tomorrow for a college fair? Remember, polo, khakis, shirt and tie. No? Oh.
You said
Do I have any other seniors, or is Sacramento it? Caleb, you're not a senior. I know you're not. All right. So some of us weren't listed yesterday because it was right at the end of class. So let's go back and review. Some people weren't listed. All right, so let's go back and review. What was friction yesterday at the end of class? Rubbing two objects together, and electrons are transferred by rubbing. So what were some examples we wrote down for friction? Remember, rubbing your hands together is not going to create static electricity. Okay, so how can we create static electricity by rubbing? All right, feet to the carpet. Balloon on hair. Okay. Virginia's would probably work. Logan's would probably work. You probably get to work on Caleb's hair. All right, they got nice fluffy looking hair. It probably worked pretty well on them. All right. So what?
probably best on Damien.
Mike, you got a hair product in your hair? No, probably worked pretty well on yours then too.
Yeah.
All right. So hair, feet on carpet. Anything else we got going on with some rubbing? What? Clothes in the dryer. Anything else? Anything got to be friction?
You said feet on trampoline.
Feet on the trampoline would be good. Any of y'all ever wear things like this and pull it off in the wintertime? All right, or pull it over your head. Sweatshirts, pull it over your head. All right, those kinds of things are going to create friction. All right, I said that. All right, you're going to get friction. But anything that requires rubbing. Now, maybe some of y'all who wear multiple layers of clothing. I'm thinking about the guys. Every time I see y'all with shorts and that under your pants, do y'all ever get static electricity when y'all do that?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I'm always shocked when y'all have multiple layers of clothes on.
I mean, it's because we don't feel like changing it in practice. We just throw our pants off and go.
Whatever. All right. Induction. All right. What is induction? All right. This is the one that I really want to work today because it's the one that's the coolest. And I'm afraid that it's going to struggle because it's so cold in this room. All right. This is the rearrangement of charge without, let me fix that. touching. Okay? It's the rearrangement of charge without touching. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the example you're going to see with this because I'm going to show it to you. Okay? When you place a balloon on a wall, because I'm going to show it to you with a computer, because I'm going to explain how it works on the next board, and then I'm going to pull up a demo on the computer to show you how it works. And there's several examples of induction in the lab. All right, does everybody have what they need? Okay, so how does this work? All right, we have a wall today. All right, and in the wall, there are positive and negative charges. Oops, try that again. All right, and we're going to bring a balloon near the wall. And yes, I have balloons for y'all. Okay? Now, you're going to take this balloon and you're going to rub it on rabbit fur. Okay? Now, you can rub it on somebody's hair if they're willing and you have a lab mate who's willing. I'll be honest with you, though. It works better on the rabbit fur. The rabbit fur I have found over the years works the absolute best for creating static electricity, even on days like today. Okay? Now, when you rub it on the rabbit fur, all right, it's going to gain some electrons. So we've got all these negative electrons here, right? So what's going to happen to these negative electrons when they come up against this wall? Okay? It's going to attract the what? The positives. What are the little minuses going to do? Okay. The negatives in the wall move away, and the positives in the wall attract the balloon.
So the balloon float in front of the wall.
The balloon will stick to the wall. Now, if it was warm in here today, you could stick the balloon to the wall and it would stay the whole time we were doing lab. Okay? Now, because it's cool in here today, we'll be lucky if the balloon will stick and slide down the wall. It may not even stick at all today. It may not do anything. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you that website that's up there. I'm going to pull it up to show you what it's supposed to do, because it may not do any of it today, both with the other balloon and with the wall. Okay? So get what you need. Now, a lot of people will tell me this is conduction, because the balloon sticks. They go, oh, it touched the wall, Miss Wall. This is conduction. It's touching. Yes, it is touching, but did it charge by touching? No, it charged initially because it rearranged the charges in the wall first, and then it stuck. Okay? So does everybody have what they want? Because I'm going to minimize this for a second. I don't hear any no's out there.
You get the light?
It's just going to be on the board. It's not a video or anything.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Okay, don't get followed.
Oh, here's sticking to the
Huh?
Oh, here's sticking to the
Okay. All right. So if I take the balloon and I rub it on the shirt, all right, this will be your rabbit fur. What's happening to the balloon? What's it got on it? See all the little negatives building up? All right, you're going to do that with the rabbit fur. The sweater's the rabbit fur, okay? Now, you see the wall? It's got all the pluses and the minuses. Now, when I bring it near the wall, watch to see what happens with the minuses. See how the minuses begin to move away? That's the rearrangement of charge. The charges move away so the balloon can do what? Stick. So the minuses here are attracted to the pluses because the minuses move away. Now, a lot of people say, oh, that's conduction, Miss Wall, because the balloon touched the wall. Well, yeah, it is sort of conduction, but it's not. It's induction because those got rearranged and then it stuck. Now, what happens if I take two balloons, okay? And I rub this balloon, and then I rub this balloon. What are the two balloons going to do if I try to put the two balloons together? All right, get over here, balloon.
They're going crazy.
Yeah, they are. Here, get rid of the wall. What happens to the balloons?
Don't want to stay together
Why don't they want to stay together?
because they're not the same.
Because they got a lot of negatives in them.
And what do the negatives do?
Repel.
They repel, okay? So when one's negative and the other's negative, they don't like each other, so they repel each other, and they push apart, okay? Everybody got that? All right, hopefully it'll work today when you go to do that. I don't know if it will or not, but hopefully it will. Okay, everybody okay with how induction works? All right. So the last thing we have to learn about is electric discharge, because you're going to have to do this, okay? And this part of the lab y'all have to share. So how many people do I have today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17. So there will be 4 groups today. All right. Maybe 5 groups. Could probably do a little smaller. I got enough baskets for 5. All right, but the electroscopes we have to share. All right, because I have more of these, but these are the 2 that work the absolute best. And so, given we have to share the electroscopes, all right, everybody has to be able to perform electric discharge. All right, so what is electric discharge that everybody's going to have to do? All right, this is the loss of static electricity. Okay, it's the loss of static electricity. Now, how are you going to lose the static electricity? Where's it going to go? Does anybody remember where I said it went yesterday? William, why do you suppose I'm yelling at you? Because what? And what are you doing? So put it all back in the basket. Put it back over there. Y'all are going to get to mess with it in a little while. Now go back where you were. All right. Now, does anybody remember what I said the heat helps to do? Helps to dry out the what? That's right. Water in the air. Good, Caleb. All right. So, water in the air or on our fingers absorbs the electrons. Okay? So, for us to perform electric discharge, our electroscope is what we're going to need to perform electric discharge on. Okay? And I'm going to show you how this thing works in a second. But all you're going to need to do, our hands always have moisture on them. They're always, even though they don't feel wet, they actually have moisture on them. All you have to do is put your fingers on this knob, and all those extra electrons do what? They absorb to your fingers. Okay? Okay? No, it's not going to shock you at all. All right? But any extra electrons that are there, they just absorb into your skin or your hand. They just go away. All right? The problem with it being wet in here today is, let's say that we take our trusty rabbit fur. All right? Now, this is, first of all, this is silk today. Please don't cut anything that I have in here that I didn't ask you expressly to cut. The only thing anybody should be cutting today is tissue paper. All right? That's the only thing the scissors are for, is when it says cut tissue paper. Nothing else should be cut at the end of the day. So this is silk. This is the rabbit fur. And no, I did not shoot the rabbits myself before any of you asked me that. All right? This is the wool. You have a wood stick. This is your rubber rod. These are glass rods. Some of you have smaller glass rods, depending on which ones I can find. Plastic combs. And then, of course, you have scissors. So when you need to create some static electricity, you could just merely rub the comb with the fur, okay? And then touch it to the electroscope. Did it do anything? Please tell me those leaves did something. Because if the leaves didn't do anything, it's going to be a really bad lab. Did they do something?
Yay!
Thank God. All right. Now, the electric discharge part is, so I'm rubbing by what? What method am I using? I'm rubbing. It's friction, right? So this comb has electrons on it. I touch it there. So now this knob has extra electrons, right? Electric discharge. So now what do the leaves do?
One is going down.
You better go down. All right, because all the electrons just went where? To my hand. Okay? So I took all the extra electrons away. That was the point of me putting my hand on it, to make the electrons go away. Okay? Now, what charge does the object have after it undergoes static discharge? What charge does this have after I put my hand on it?
Lost a second.
So what charge would it have? Positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral?
Positive.
It's neutral. It has no charge now. Okay? Now it's neutral. Okay? It's neutral after you make the electrons go away. Now, the reason that the lab struggles today is, if I am standing here and I'm trying to create static electricity and there's all this wet air in the room, every time I take my comb away from the fur, what does the moisture in the room do with my electrons? It takes them. Okay? The rabbit fur works pretty good. But one that's going to struggle is the silk and the glass rod. We can't get enough friction going here to create any static electricity. This one is not going to work very well. It should create static electricity, and if it was dry in here, we had heat going, it would work. Okay? This one is a crapshoot. It might work. Okay? It's just not going to happen really well. But the rabbit fur always works, which is why I said with the balloons, I would be less inclined to try people's hair, more inclined to use the rabbit fur, because the rabbit fur usually works. Okay? So the last thing we need to talk about, one really vivid example of this, other than what we just did here, is lightning. When y'all see lightning in a storm in the summertime or even in the winter, lightning is a very vivid example of electric discharge. Did y'all know that when clouds rub and create storms, that's static electricity? Okay? That's static electricity. It's just friction. It's a method of discharge. Okay? So, when y'all see your classmates, or maybe you're the one doing this, all right, clouds doing that in a summer storm or fall when we have a thunderstorm next time, clouds that are all swirly out there, that's the same thing as doing this. Okay? Creating the thunderstorm. It's a method of charging. And then when you see lightning, it's electric discharge. It's the same thing as doing this. It's just, instead of you maybe took up 10 electrons, lightning is millions of electrons all at one time. Okay? You wouldn't want to be, this is not going to hurt you. Lightning would hurt you. Okay? So, last thing you got to know for today. What is this called? It's called an electroscope. Okay? Oh, don't lose my stick. All right, so you're going to use an electroscope. It's a device used to detect static electricity. Okay? So, how did it work? What happened? What did you see happen?
The little leaves went crazy.
Okay, the leaves split open. Okay? So the leaf, whoops. Now, why did the leaves open? You got to know that. All right, so let me draw the little ball and the little leaves here. Electrons travel down to the leaves. The leaves open because, all right, let me draw a little E here and a little E here. All right, tell me why they would open. If this is an electron and this is an electron, all right, they what? That's right. The leaves open because they repel. They have the same charge. Okay? Because they have the same charge, they repel each other. So, you'll be able to tell today if you created static electricity because the leaves will open. They will have the same charge. Now, the downside to this lab is not everything's going to work, which is sad because I can't get any heat.
You can complain.
Yeah, I'd love to. Unfortunately, no one will listen to me. You just think I'm lying.
Let's all complain.
All right.
It's Marshall Terry.
All right. I really don't want a group of 5. You need to do 2 groups of 3. All right. Let me do William, Roy, and John in the back table. Let me do Caleb, Sacramento, Ana Lucia, and Alizé at the middle table. All right. All right, let me have John.
You took my brother.
Okay. Okay. Y'all go. Go to your spot so I know what I've got left. Let me have John, Janiyah, John, Janiyah, Chase, and Bree at that table. Alexis, Damien, and Virginia at that table. And then my remaining 3 at the back table. All right. Now, let me tell you what I'm going to do. Here, y'all take that basket. Oh, wherever I put you. All right. So, my back 2 groups are going to start with part 1. Okay? All right. So my 3 tables that don't have a basket come get a basket. My 3 tables that don't have a basket. I did not put that many people in one count. I just look like I got that many people in one count.
Alexis hand. I'm not doing this with you.
How many people I have here at this table?
I don't care either.
Halo.
I don't.
4. There's your 4. How many people do I have at this count?
You distracting me.
I got 4 at this table. 4 for y'all.
That wasn't how I said.
Yeah, 2 of you can be on this side, 2 of you can be on the other side. So it doesn't look like I have 18 people at the front counter.
Doing good.
Yeah, go get it.
I got 3 here. Okay. And I got 3 here. All right. Does everybody have a paper? Because I need to explain how the charts work before y'all get bent out of shape. All right. Now, there are 4 parts to the left. Okay? So, the only 2 groups that are starting with part 1, first of all, are the 2 groups at the back. Let me find it. All right, I don't have it in Smart Notebooks, so let me find it. There it is. All right, so my group of Raoul and William are going to start with part 1. My other 3 groups turn to part 2. Now, when you guys are filling in your data tables, notice the way the data tables are set up. The data tables say what happened to the leaves of the electroscope or what happened to the tissue paper and what should have happened. Now, if you say, let's just say here for this one, the leaves opened. Do you need to tell me what should have happened if you said the leaves opened? No, you leave that blank. Now, if you write nothing here, what do you need to do? You need to tell me what should have happened if nothing happened. What's supposed to happen? You need to tell me the leaves are supposed to open. Okay? Now, the tissue paper one on part 2 should work. Okay? Because y'all are using the rabbit fur. So that one should work pretty well. So when you guys get down, see if I can get it together to the tissue paper. So when you guys get the tissue paper one to work and you write what happens here, do you need to do this piece? No, y'all don't need to tell me what should have happened because it'll probably work. Okay? Now, once the 2 back groups finish with part 1, y'all hand your electroscopes to the groups that are directly behind you. Okay? You guys who are doing part 2, y'all just keep going with part 3 and part 4 until you get to the electroscope. All right? When somebody gives you the electroscope, go back and pick up with part 1. You understand? When you get to the balloons, which is part 4, come see me and I'll give you balloons. Okay? Do not forget the back page. There's like 15 to 20 points of questions on the back page. And they're easy. They're not even real questions. All right? Everybody got it? Fabulous.
Okay. I'm loud. Okay, guys. Just for part 1. I can't be enough to approve that.
John, you need to walk around to the other side of the group so you can be in the group with everybody else.
Talk.
You can't, he doesn't work.
He's going to have to.
I do work.
Pretend you're in 4th period. This is how they work every time. They all have to be assigned groups.
Okay, so we'll talk to them right now. Okay, so we got
Is the glass rod and silk supposed to,
The glass rod and silk is the one I told you is gonna struggle the most.
yes,
I told you, it's gotta be really warm for that one to work. Really dry atmosphere.
Isn't it tissue paper?
Yes, that's the tissue paper. You can just cut up some of it. The smaller the pieces, the better it will work. And you don't need a lot of it. I mean, just cut like a square off and cut it up. You don't need a lot. Did you hear me about that, Anna Lucy? Okay, yeah, you don't need a lot. And the smaller the better. You hear me, Bree?
And then we gonna record the observation. Okay, oh shit now.
What are you
It's
yelling at?
sticking up.
I told you this one would work. That one I wasn't worried about.
Sacramento do it for me now.
You said don't do the rubber rod.
What?
You said don't do the rubber
Okay.
No, try the rubber rod. I just don't know if that will work either.
you work.
rod.
Did the rubber rod work? Okay. It's the glass itself that I knew was not gonna work.
What's the rubber rod?
No, that was it.
Hold the close.
He wasn't listening when I explained what the parts were.
It just touched me. Oh! I got red.
You what?
I got red.
Yeah.
Bring it back here.
Oh,
Now, when y'all get to the water, you want it to be a very thin stream.
all right.
The wooden stick, we just lay it on there.
With what?
Okay, you are.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
Nothing's happening.
Okay.
Remember, are you doing any charging in that? So if you're not doing any charging, should anything happen?
But what? Like, you know.
That's important.
It attracted because of that.
Facial tissue would be tissue. The eraser would be the eraser on your pencil.
Is nothing supposed to happen with the,
That's what I put. What happened?
Are you charging it?
No.
And would anything happen if you don't charge it?
nothing?
Oh, shit. It attracted because we charged it first. We charged it with which created. Which created. Okay.
I put the negative moved away and the positives came closer, so like it basically cancels out.
This is.
So what now?
You know, it's like, why did it happen?
Yeah,
Can I say?
you can use things like positives attract negatives. They are oppositely charged, things of that nature. So what?
This for part two.
No, part two, pass it on. Yeah, once you finish part one, hand it on.
How many squares do we need for the,
It doesn't need to be a bunch, just cut off a square and cut them small.
Rubber cones.
You know, 10 is good.
oh, this
No, it's the same, cause they one, they two, they 6.
So you're opposite.
So they did the tissue paper 6.
Okay,
So
rub
yeah,
cones several times on the
yeah,
grass.
the opposite. So opposite
Turn on
subtract
right,
and-
so.
right, well, opposite subtract and.
Opposites attract.
Like,
Ashanti, take your earbuds out.
Hold your charged cone to the water.
what?
It's weird. It's weird. Yellow water is squeaking down.
It's supposed to. I told you, the better the stream, the better it works.
What?
So it's working for you?
Yes. Watch
Good.
it. Look, Johnny. Johnny. Water time. Stop so not influence.
Hey.
Look, Johnny.
You don't want that 10, Virginia. There you go. There you go. What? You got it stuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you that one would work. The water should work too.
All right. What happened to the water?
Now you want to get the static electricity and then immediately put it near the water. You don't want to dangle it around in the air.
Boy.
What charge of the water?
Can we put that in?
What?
Like, that you should have had to get there.
We rubbing this together.
No. For which one?
Like, on, it says,
A positive charge.
the wood thick, face tissue.
You could put something like they are not being charged, because you didn't rub them or use any of the charging things.
Positive, negative. Subtract like this, positive, that's negative. Boom, period. Boom. Hey, baby, hey. You moving?
The moon? That's a pretty strong stream. Make it a little better.
Yeah. How
All
the?
right, now,
This one.
now try it.
This one.
This what?
Why? Hold up, she see something.
What'd you say?
Okay, so I'm rubbing this together with the comb. Ain't this giving it a positive charge, right?
One of them is positive, one of them's negative. You don't even have to know which one's positive, which one's negative. You just gotta know one's positive, one's negative.
Fact. I don't know. This comb is positive.
The water's fine. There it goes. Your problem is you're letting the static electricity get away from the comb before you get the comb near the water. You're gonna need a lip brush. You already been to JROTC today? Thank goodness. Make Damien use the fur.
I mean, I can't. I hate when I say positive.
Alright, you go find the sip water.
Yeah. They're like the charge from the charge that the wood, the charge from the wood, damn, the charge the wood, you gotta call. The charge the wood, you get a call. Okay, deposit charge the wood, get a call. Alright.
Do you wanna do it? So, okay.
Because the wood gave the positive charge, which we attract like to the negative charge of the water. That's why. If water is negative, right?
Doesn't matter again.
Oh, okay, fair. The positive charge, the rule gave.
How do I answer that?
Answer
It's
what?
like, why did the phenomenon occur with the water, while the water attracted the belt? Isn't that a negative?
As long as you can tell me if they attract or repel based on what kind of charges they have, I can be happy. You don't have to know who's positive and who's negative or who's.
So I can say that a negative attracted water.
Sure.
Y'all got that? Keep your I'm not playing games. Okay, guys. Let me talk to
Okay,
you.
so what do we do with the one? Oh, you already handed it to us.
I'm not playing with you.
You didn't even come.
Cause I'm a weirdo. You were really good to go for the Okay, Johnny? Yeah, Johnny.
You want to
John. John said. We should say he said calling.
What you doing, my brother?
I ain't doing nothing, John. All up to balloon. What a balloon?
Over here.
Over here.
I'll wait.
Blues?
Okay, guys.
Girl, the first one, first one. Never mind.
You're trying not to pop them.
Air went back in your mouth.
Yeah.
This shit so long. Oh my god. Boom. Ba-bow.
Won't buy you long.
You're not doing it.
My bad. My bad, Caleb. All right. Welcome to the second time with Oklahoma.
Oh, she got.
Yes, it is. All right. It's sticking. It's sticking out.
Let go.
It stick?
Let go of it.
Let go.
And well, I swear to God, it was sticking till y'all said something.
I told you, it's gonna struggle to stick today.
Look, I got it to stick. Here you go.
Wait.
No.
It works better when it's warm in the room.
Let go.
Free touches.
Let's go ahead and go stick to the
No, when I let it go.
low one.
You need two.
Well, it ain't working. What happened to the balloon? Nothing. What should have happened? It should have stick to the wall.
It sticks in the slides. All aired out.
Okay. Here.
Hey, my hair worked.
Your hair work to get the stick? Okay, there you go. There's one sticking in the roller. You stick to the wood more so than the wall? Or just work better with your hair?
Work that on my hair.
There you go.
What the heck? That's not getting in my nose.
Look, look how this.
Tell me what happened.
Look, there you go, Miss Walton.
There we go. We got one stuck to the wall. Apparently it works really well on William's head. We got the rabbit fur. We just need to rub it on William's head.
He is a rabbit. That one ain't work. What the balloon supposed to do?
I got two stuck in the wall.
What the balloon supposed to do? Rub the balloons together and I'll put two balloons together. What?
What's rubbing on your head?
It's something.
You need them?
Yeah.
Stick it on. Oh, that was laying on the desk.
No, look at him.
It's, I can't tell if it's just stuck together.
That's why I thought they were supposed to repel. They're not repelling.
Go run on William's head. It won't work real well. That's why. Several things in the pink bag were stuck together really fast. So I was gonna try it before I just throw it away. But if you can't blow it up, clearly I need to just throw it away. All right, now try. All right, now try sticking the two blues together. Are they repelling now?
It feel like they.
All right, now try to put them together. All right, William. That's what it's supposed to do. Apparently, we just need William's head.
They repelling y'all. So I was just repelling. Yeah. They don't want to be with each other no more. So get away from my Why you didn't like it? What happened to the balloons? I mean, they just look like that. All right, we got this now, so we can do the first one. Go back to it. All right, Bro, plastic. was also my, I had all of it. Wait, John, wait.
First, I worked there.
Well, yeah, come here.
Oh, that was cool. My hair got one of the ones and it transferred to each one.
They were helping. The first one, they were helping.
I love this.
Right,
A little bit. Them used to go to work.
Hey, William, Miss Wall, my work too. Miss Wall. I'm here too.
Leave it be. Okay. If y'all need somebody else, use Logan's head.
Hey, do it again. I bet you they go. You don't work, we just.
It does work better on white people's hair. I'm not white. You're close enough.
You know, wait. They remain neutral.
Indian, you mean?
I'm Indian too.
I didn't make
Your hair is close enough. Get it?
Glass rod.
Okay, see if you can make it a little.
You don't know if they did.
And then you gotta get the static electricity and literally finish and put it right next to the wall. Because it's too wet in here for it to work really well.
Can I get
Yeah.
When I say it attracted or it was attached,
Yeah, you can say it attractive.
Hey, it didn't work
I
on
was
the hair.
like, you know that's the white stuff inside, all blue stuff inside.
Oh, okay.
The powder, but they
It's
stick.
a powder.
It's the powder in the balloon. All balloons have that powder. If it bothers us, not either one. Whose hair? What kind of hair you got?
there you go,
You got some kind of product in your hair, like booster gel or something? That's why. You have a product in your hair, it won't work. It won't work on mine because I have mousse in my hair.
I don't want to do that again.
You blew that up.
Yes, and I know someone's gonna see. It was supposed to help. Look at look in the glass rod. Wait.
Yes, most people use those, yeah. Try to stick it in the glass now, Alexis. Try to stick it in the glass. If it was drier in here, it might also rotate his hair.
Here.
But because it's not dry enough.
Rub both of us at the same time.
You gotta do something besides stick balloons to the wall, people.
Go ahead and touch it. Y'all playing something. Y'all doing too much over there.
I didn't want to stick together.
Cuz, it's all right.
Somebody step up. Yeah.
I didn't step on it. It hit the ground hard. I got a step on it.
Now we need.
Just like two.
Thank you.
Now rubber out first. Why rubber ain't working?
All right, William.
Think about.
Oh, never mind.
I can't do it. I can't do it because it really hurts when I'm.
They repel.
It works with Logan's hair.
All right.
And then you gotta finish that one.
When the balloon is placed in the wall, why
Right on out. That's usually me.
Yeah. For number one on conclusions, can I put that it didn't stick because it's too cold in here?
No.
But it didn't stick. Yes, I am. Get me off there. You don't want to pull a picture of my grandmother? So we gotta act you up.
Keep an eye on the time. You have to finish the lab by 1:20.
It's in that little zipper in my car. It's the negative objective number.
The only reason why I really got sick is because he likes you.
Yeah, you don't know. Figure it out. Just talking about it. Just talking about induction, right? It's like yeah, it's friction. What is it? What's the? Where do we put friction up? That's what we use. Oh, stick.
What method of turning?
What's two, John? What's two? Get away from the train. What's number two, John? That's the charge. What's the answer? All right.
Really?
But shit. No. What's his name? For number two, can I put William's head? On conclusions.
What does it say that you keep on to write William's head?
How did we go about charging these balloons?
I'm asking for something like conduction, induction, or friction. Not William's head.
Isn't it static electricity, induction, and friction?
Nope. That's static electricity one's wrong. Starts with a C.
That ain't like yours.
Let me write it down. Write it down.
Induction is one of the C.
Induction is one. Y'all stop. We're not in the gym. This is not volleyball.
And next one start with a C.
One of them starts with a C.
And it's she said it was a conduction in the beginning.
No, I didn't. She said static electricity.
No, I'm talking. No, when you earlier
What?
when you said everyone thinks it's conduction, but it's not.
Oh, what are we talking about?
Oh, okay. So
So it's connection.
Conduction is one of the three. Conduction, friction, and induction are the three types.
What method of charging? Look.
Wait, Miss Walsh.
Wait, number 5 on,
Alexa, stay in here. Okay.
Why would I walk out the class and I'm doing?
I'm just used to people trying to do that, I guess.
Thinking about what happened.
What, William?
number 5, part 4 says, what do we call this? What?
That is what the balloons do.
I put.
They were
Held.
And that's what you're telling me.
That's what that number 4.
What y'all think number 4 is?
Where do we put the extra, where'd I put the extra action?
I don't really
Yes.
I've lost the whole stack of others there.
Sure you showed us how to have it.
Okay. Repelled.
Where is Anna? What does it call this action? None of your read quick.
Well, you found a school writer?
That's a lot.
Oh, yeah. You don't, keep your license, right? You gotta keep your license.
Restriction, we can put, rubbing
Yes,
on.
you do.
For what?
They look up and
Examples?
look at your grades.
There's no difference.
They look at your grades, right?
Examples, I want specific examples from the lab.
You have to meet
Like-
classes and, they can-
Rubbing the balloon apart.
They can.
Yes.
So saying rubbing the
They
balloon.
didn't ask for high school.
Yes.
Number 5 is repellent.
They're screwed.
Yes.
They can ask me why as well.
Now I don't wanna write something
They
down.
put your name in the system and it shows up.
Gotta put verbs,
Right.
Is there only gonna be one method, or is it gonna be like more?
You have more restrictions. There are only three types.
Cause I wanna put conduction, still conduction.
Okay.
Yeah, but you didn't. That was the purpose of that.
Okay, so it's for.
Yes.
Go to the one. Go to the one.
You don't even know why.
I do.
Why?
I do.
No, you don't. You throw it down because I was out there. I throw ass on him. You wouldn't. He wouldn't know. He would have wrote it down.
I wrote it for you.
I was looking at you while you wrote it.
I was looking at the paper.
You wasn't. You had to do all this.
You said put the balloons together and then.
Yeah, so it's friction, induction, conduction.
If they repel.
Doesn't matter whether they repel
So
or
what's the
attract.
definition?
Glued together as what?
Like you just keep your hand right through it here. You can't have it on there.
It's smooth.
No, you gotta figure it out.
Jungle. Let me get a bucket, let me just say. It looks like Sacramento.
Okay.
What?
Rubbing.
That's dead animal first.
Don't tell him. Come on with the knife.
I can put the comb with
We're gonna leave mine out.
That was friction.
Oh. Well, I got you. But he go,
Someone use the color in the little paper that we put up.
I'm thinking that the water and the comb.
Would it have been induction?
Like touching the column.
Because wouldn't it be induction with the little
Friction, you have to, conduct friction.
Glass and silk.
Did you rub the comb and tissue paper together?
No. So it'd be induction.
The tissue paper and the comb with induction.
If she means like,
You got them.
is she annoying you?
You can say you don't like
No, because the way she talking always.
conduct. You have to touch. The rubber.
Stop, bro. Stop.
Well, that's friction too.
Oh, you got my pencil.
Process by.
Oh, you got my pencil.
We didn't do it because.
Who you want these at this one? On the chair?
On the chair.
The rubber rod and the was friction.
No, yeah, I bet you won't do that.
Nah, cause production is like. Yeah, the balloon. And the examples, do we have to give examples of literally all three of the examples of charging?
Yeah. It would be nice if you gave some of all three, but I don't guess you technically have to. And when you guys are done, put the electroscopes on the back and everything back in the tub for fourth period, please. Yeah.
What do you all think alone?
I'll be in my pen signs and you know here.
What we do these?
I was before you popped them and get rid of this, you know.
The rubber rod.
I need to go and pop them out of the glass.
Glass is serious.
Got your Lexus, you need to
Yeah.
I have
She
some
over here,
back.
I'm thinking she.
Do not take my Scotch tape out, you just go out the back.
Look.
I told him to do it,
Oh.
rather than y'all taking them to lunch and getting in trouble. Cause some of y'all will get in trouble.
I got it written down. Electroscope.
That's good. Because we're taking away the charge. You haven't had.
Oh, come on. Stop! You don't have the tape tangled up, because you're not gonna be able to use an order uniform.
It was a gunfight in the line. Oh, it's hard. I can't even find it.
Oh my God.
Material.
It's wet. See, of course you would say that.
What time do y'all gotta leave school?
You'll be here till 4 for staff development. I hate that place, I'd rather be here with y'all.
What time do y'all gotta be on Thursday?
11 to 7. Yeah, there's nothing enjoyable about the next day. It's not.
Are you sure there's nothing?
Yep.
Bro, look.
Yep, 100% positive. What? Have a piece of tape for what?
Well, you never even clean your uniform. Why you gonna clean it today?
I got you right
Look, he had it like that all day.
I'm not talking.
Boy, shut up. That's not fun.
Why would you do it right there? It's standing right there.
I didn't realize it was a
I hate
problem.
balloons. Do not pop no other thing.
Alexa, just get it back. It's a little chilly back there, but you won't hear it.
No.
You give it here and I'll do it quietly.
No, I don't.
How you supposed to do it, right?
I don't like that sound. It's
Oh,
really,
you got this thing.
I get scared easily.
I was gonna do it so quiet. Blame Raoul for that. I actually had to do it quiet.
I do too. Y'all done. You're done.
I was gonna do it quietly, Alexa, for you and Alice, but
I don't like balloons.
wait,
I like to like get frightened really easily. So
I didn't realize it was gonna bother those two.
really quick.
Oh,
No,
still?
nothing's wrong with it.
Alright,
And just-
I still got, what, one group finished up? Do not take the balloons with you so you don't get in trouble. Alright.
John, can you put this back?
Alright, make sure all your stuff is back in this basket.
I'm going to
Where's it over? One,
It's not in hell.
Alright, did I get everybody's paper up front? No, I got one good, still finishing. Y'all cannot possibly have that much crap.
Wow, I have a white shirt, so you can't tell. Right.
Y'all stop with my master tape. Get off my desk and stop stealing my tape. Stop. Get off my desk. I'm going. Caroline. Look down there, buddy.
Well, don't get my bag.
On the chair.
That's right.
All right, the paper that Alexis has given you We're going to work on it until the bell rings, then we're gonna work on it again tomorrow. Don't lose it. It's not homework, but we're gonna work on it right now. Now, the front side has blanks at the bottom to help you figure out the answer. Okay? So if you get stuck on what the question's asking you, there are blanks at the bottom to help you figure out what the answer is supposed to be. Does everybody have one? You did? Okay. Oh. Did you want to design? Wandering around here. You put one on there, Bruce got one on his desk. All right, do I have all the lab papers? Thank you.
Everyone.
Logan, sit down. You have a paper to work on? Logan.
No, I didn't get paid. She didn't get paid.
William, why do you have the hat on your head? Uh-huh. And I don't care what side you start on. All right, the front side has words with blank lines at the bottom, helping figure out what the word is. It's got the number of spaces to go with each letter. Really, it's only the remnants of one back here. Yeah, Trust.
Oh.
Blue up there, blue up right there. All right, about 117, so put your worksheet in a safe place. We're gonna work on it tomorrow. We're gonna do a little bit of review with this, with Kahoot. And then we're gonna move on to current tomorrow. If you're not here, you'll just miss new material. I don't know if I'm actually taking a grade tomorrow night, I can't remember. You will miss a grade on Friday though if you're not here. So you'll need to plan on making that up next week, okay? Because I know Bree told me she's not planning on coming back the rest of the week. So if you're in her category, plan on staying next week to make that up. Really, you can't do that outside?
No. Then everybody gonna be like, can I stop and smoke that?
Have a nice weekend, man. Is that your water behind you, Virginia, or is that one I just see throw away?
That's mine.
Huh?
That's mine.
Okay.